Okay, I made it on. Pressing all the buttons, saying good evening, letting you know that I'm here. Welcome, everybody. For those who are joining me for the very first time, my name is Mary June Tracy, psychic medium, spiritual love of life coach, and an astrologer. Leaning towards more of the astrology. Of course, my intuition and everything comes forward. That is my cot. That is Boots. Say hello, Boots. She's the ruler of the universe. Just an FYI, if anybody else didn't know, or if you do have a cat, they're the ruler of the universe. So, Kathy's here. Hello, hello, hello. You made it on. Thank you for joining me. Um, I just wanted to come in and have a little bit of a chat this evening. It was a very long day for me. Craziness. It's um our ice machine doesn't work in my little kiosk. I tried to clean it on the 24th. I've cleaned it before and it took 4 days to do whatever it had to do. This time it ain't doing nothing. The ice machine has to be cleaned at least once a month and everything in Starbucks. But before I took over this position, the ice machine I don't think was cleaned very often, uh, if at all. So anyways, I came into a flood this morning. And like what I do, in typical Scorpio style, you just roll up your sleeves and you just get it done. Don't think about anything else. You just get it done, do what you need to do. And nobody pays me any attention when I'm doing my doing my thing. They're just like, "Oh, she's just in Starbucks doing her thing." Like nobody nobody even asks. And I don't say too much. So anyways, cleaned it all up. Opened late today, which was fine, but it made it for a very long day for me. And it I had in that day, it was good. It turned out good. There's some really beautiful people and I got some stuff organized for inventory on Saturday. But one of the conversations I had was with one of the uh he's a oh my god, what is he? Pharmacist who comes in. He works for Save On Foods, and he comes in, gets his grande dark or grande, anyways, coffee every day. So him and I were talking. I said, asked him if he had a very busy. He says, yeah, very busy all the way to the lead up to Christmas Eve, and people are coming in. Everybody. I said, oh yeah, everybody wants their drugs. Ha ha ha. Prescription drugs. And he goes, yeah, and people wanting to get their vaccine. And I went, oh, I said, oh, funny. And he goes, "Yeah, everybody's wanting to get the vaccine." And I'm like, "Oh," so here's me. "What vaccine?" He goes, they needed their COVID or they needed to get their boosters all up to date." And I was like, "Wow." I said, "People are still falling for that narrative." And he looked at me. I love pharmacists. And he said, well, yeah, if they're going to go visit their parents, and if they're older or their grandparents, they want to make sure that their vaccines were all up to date." And I went, "Oh." And he looked at me and I said, "Yes, I am one of those." And he goes, "Well, the data that came out for it, showed you that it worked." And I said, "Did it?" I said, "Right now they're showing that it doesn't work. That's why there's so many boosters coming in and that people are getting sicker than what they were before because of it." But I said, that's up to debate. I said people can, believe what they need to believe. And but I am not one who's going to stand in line to get it. And he says, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Yeah, it's up to debate." But what floored me, what really is how many are still in that loop. And I'm looking at how things are going to be really transpiring for 2023, that being in that spiral loop, being in that old loop, just trying to hang on to an old narrative or something, especially since we were thrown into a little bit of crazy in 2020, that people are now trying to still hang on to some kind of what we're going to call normalcy. And what I feel is, as we are heading into this new energy, we got Mercury is stationary and going to be going early in the morning on the 29th. It's going to be going retrograde. We have, Mars, as we're entering in, will be, really slowing down and be going stationary, and then going forward again, take a little bit, but it'll be two weeks there. Um, that even with Saturn going in, getting closer and going into Pisces, and all of this that's coming forward in this 2023, it is like this energy is trying to show us that it's not that you just have to go with the flow, but you have to go with the flow, but yet you got to get things done, and you got to move forward, and you can't. And we're going to be finding that, especially with a lot of, like, we're going into Neptune energy, and some Libra energy and stuff next year. So this is about really trusting your intuition, and that's going to be a big thing, really trusting um your guidance through this, and especially when it comes to um mentality and things like that. A lot of mental illnesses are going to be on the rise throughout 2023, especially with Neptune. And I think that's when people are trying to really hang on to a narrative that no longer is giving that substance or giving that support that people think they need, instead of going to the support of what they truly know is true for them. Some of the things that I will be talking about on January 6th, if you care to join me, it's on January 6th at 7 p.m. It'll be on Google Meet, and it will be recorded. And if you want to join me, it's $30. So just let me know if you'd like to join. And if you can't join, you will get the recording. The one thing is we're going to be seeing some crazy rises in strong religions. That religious war, that war of religion, really is going to be coming in, and that fight within within the religious wars, and especially something to do with the Catholic Church. I feel like there's going to be something coming in, because the Catholic Church, I mean, we're going through this weird kind of time right now, and there is still two popes. So there's this odd energy there. And so I feel like there's going to be some real craziness, because some of the energies are very similar to the Queen Elizabeth I and the rise of Protestants during that time, because she was a Protestant, and um, the transition from moving away from the church, and the church having all this soul power. And I feel like that there's a lot of energy within that, where, because people are trying to hang on to a narrative, because people are trying to hang on to something that, even though they may not know, no, they may know it's not true, yet they're needing something, because they haven't had that base, or haven't had a practice. So there is a hanging on to, give me some kind of structure within the ethers of my world. And wanting to have that structure within the ethers of the world, I want you to still tell me what to do. Because the word freedom comes up quite a bit. And especially, when I'm looking at, as our movements and moving forward. And many are terrified of freedom, terrified of what freedom is. And I've witnessed this many times in my life, where it was so much easier to go back. I've worked with many Hutterites, to go back to the colony than to stay out of the colony and make a go of it, and really um have to, build your own life. Take control of your life. Take that responsibility of your world. But going back to the colony, I don't have to take responsibility of my world. I'm told what I'm supposed to do. I know on Wednesdays I work at this and Tuesdays I work at that. And I don't have to worry about my meals. I don't have to worry about my clothes. Everybody wears the same glasses. Everybody wears the same shoes. I've been told who I'm going to get married to. The rest, is, and that comes in too with this pull to very strong religions and that religious control, because then you really don't have to think for yourself, because you have the church telling you, or the ruler of the church telling you what is good for you and what isn't good for you, um and the belief systems of that. And there is, even at work, there's this beautiful Muslim woman, and she had to step away from the job because she wasn't allowed to be a cashier anymore. Her husband forbade it because she touched pork. So we're trying to find a place for her because she still needs to, but he still wants her to work, and she wants to work within the grocery store, and she loves the store. So we're looking at putting probably putting her in the bakery. But that's the whole thing, is like there's this strong control and wanting to have, that guidance. But I don't want to do the guidance. I want you to do the guidance for me. I don't really want to think for myself. And that's where you're going to see a lot of weirdness come in, a lot of weird ideas, weird thoughts, weird programming coming through with this. I feel like there's going to be even where they're wanting to do restrictions on things, um, within our world, and what those restrictions look like. What are they? It could be, even though it could be restrictions on alcohol. I mean, they're restricting gun control and things like that, but maybe others. There could be some kind of restrictions when it comes to, alcohol, and the consuming of alcohol. And, this goes down is like, we know that you bought 2 bottles of wine already this month. You can't buy any more, kind of thing, or you can't buy any at all. Prohibition. So I feel like there's gonna be some kind of craziness like that kinda coming in, some kind of weirdness, yet there is this beautiful innate energy of stepping into one's ownness and one's power and one's, intuition, and trusting that and working on it and acting on what you need to act on. There's that's coming in, that's so, strong and beautiful. And that's on the individual basis, right? When it comes to the world and the economics of the world, I mean, yes, there's still that's a whole nother kettle of fish. That's, we have that individuality of what we need to pursue and do and cultivate to um what the narrative of everything else that's going to be coming in and being thrown at us, and how we guide ourselves through it. And I'm hoping on January 6th, I'm working on some of it now, that I'm able to help people with this guidance and insights of what's coming down the chute. uh, I know I've done this before, and I know many people have told me it's really, really, really helped them in understanding and even in preparing, right back to 2017, when I kept telling people, I'm going to have to put everything online. Everything's going to have to be online. We're not going to be able to meet together, and markets aren't going to be the thing for quite some time. And and lo and behold, we know what happened from there. And now I feel like there's going to be where people are wanting to do markets, but I feel like that gathering is going to mold in a different way, and I'm not sure exactly. I feel the markets are still going to be there, like little markets, arts and craft markets and stuff. I feel like some of them are going to be there, yet it's going to be some kind of gathering place for people to meet up at, to have a collective at, and it's going to be where I feel it's because of so many things that are going to unfold for us. These places are gonna be a place where maybe you make connections in order to get your bottle of wine or something, or get or find out what other news is happening. So that's what I feel. It's not gonna be so much as, yes, there's gonna be selling of wares, and people are going to be selling their wares, but it's going to it's going to be like a special marketplaces for people to come together in very unique, special ways. Um, and right now, the only market I'm doing is with pagan with Andrea. So and her pagan spiritual one, and I think the next one's in February. But I feel like these um gatherings are going to be more of a gathering of no of a collective of knowledge, but not out in the open. I don't know how else to say that, but that's what they're showing me. And I think this is going to develop over the next several years. Not only 2023, but as we're going in. I'm just giving you some insight of some of the things I'll be talking about on January 6th. And I feel like there's, right now, there is this preparedness. You see, the astrology always gets us to do things. The astrology always gets us to look at, things, pagan spirit events. That's what it's called, pagan spirit events. Sorry. Um, Astrology always prepares us and gets us to start to do things. So for instance, right now it's preparing us, Mercury's going retrograde. Let's put things in order. Let's gather the things that we need to put in order. Um so that as we step forward into January, we're not feeling like we're being knocked around, or we're not feeling overwhelmed, or we're not feeling um that we're missing out on something. So this is really a prepared time, yet we may feel like we don't want to do it, or we may feel like we just want to lay back and just go with the flow. It's kind of like, oh, I don't want to, I'll do the dishes tomorrow. And I'm just like, no, 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 get up, do the dishes now, get them now, because tomorrow there's going to be something else. So it's like, don't put off tomorrow what you can do today, basically. So this is where we're at. Where you can't be putting things off. So if you've been sort of procrastinating on a lot of things, this isn't a time to procrastinate. This is a time to really, you know, let's roll up your sleeves and get things done. Like I came in and saw the flood. Okay, I gotta turn off the ice machine because it just continued to run, and empty it, and empty all that water out, and clean it out, scrub it out, clean up the floor, move, all of that. We could, I mean, the thing is that you could put it all aside. Hey, Mandy, you could put it all aside, but if you do that, you're gonna find that, oh, it's just going, something else is going to pile up on top of that and just give you a heavier weight to carry. And with Mercury and Mars retrograde, this is going to be challenging over the next 2 weeks, until even I mean, Mars still has to go forward and go back over what it just came through in Gemini. So it's going to be somewhat of a bumpy go, because we want to have that get up and go. We want to have that. And we're not going to feel that, oh, thank fucking God, till March. And then then March is going to hit, and there's other things that's going on there. But this is why I feel God, the divine, is opening this doorway and saying, "Okay, let's start doing what we need to do." If there is some preparedness. I feel like there's some preparedness. And I feel for us as we step forward and coming into this new year, um, we'll be feeling that we really want to get going and really want to get moving on things. And there's going to be some cautionary energies that are going to guide us so that we are making sure that we move within the directions that we need to move into and not get caught up in the show that's being unveiled to us all. So, with the show that's being unveiled to us all, because there are some more, and I say the word plagues. I know they use the other word, but I use the word because I never said plague. I said plagues with an S that will be coming. But that's where all that preparedness comes in. That's where all of the um our alignments and those gatherings are so important, come together for us and align for us, you know, in in things. And new discoveries that are going to come through this, either with planetary discoveries, which may give us more answers to things, more understanding to things. Because Chiron was only discovered in the 70s, right? And with Chiron, we started to learn. That's the whole thing when in the 70s, when we discovered self-esteem and our wounded child and our wounded self, and discovering our inner child and learning how to work with our inner child and our inner selves, and um you know what it means to have self-respect for herself and self-esteem, along with the woman's movement and other things that came about in the 70s too. So Chiron really brought in an age of discovery in a time that was very weird. The 70s were very weird. Some of you who follow me may not have lived through the 70s, or some of you may have just been born in the 70s. But living through the 70s, it was just a weird time. It was just weird. The energies were weird. You just came out of the 60s, where I think that was the last, when it was really trying to bring people together. You know, and that was a time when when the dollar started to change, and the economy, was going all over the place, and interest rates were just through the roof. Um, Real crazy times was the 70s, and Chiron's rate, in this time of shortly after it was discovered. And knowing that it was this craziness that was unfolding for us, and we're going through some craziness that's unfolding. And same with Uranus. And Uranus, as the North Node moves away from Uranus, because the nodes move in an opposite direction of the planets. As it moves away, and the nodes are moving up to 14 degrees, and moving towards Aries and towards Libra, because that's where they're going to be next year. So the nodes are going to be in Aries and Libra. And the south node in Libra is going to be squaring Pluto. Holy shit. So it's going to be squaring Pluto, and it's going to be, that's a whole nother factor when it comes to relationships, because the last time, Pluto was in Libra, we're looking at the 80s, and Pluto, that's the shortest time in any sign. It's like Pluto goes into Libra and wants to get the hell out. It's like, oh my God, what is all of this? We've got to deal with relationships. We've got to deal, nobody's making a decision here. It's all balancing. If anybody knows any Libras, trying to make them get a decision is just, you just don't. And that was high divorce rates in the 80s. And then Pluto Saturn met at the near the end of the 80s, and that's was the AIDS epidemic, you know. And it's, so all of this energy of learning to relate with relationships, learning how to bring in that balance and that creativity with it all, and keeping the balance within ourselves as Saturn goes into Pisces. And Saturn being, and moving away from a lot of Saturnian energy. We've been in Saturnian energy for, oh my God, since was it 2017? Yeah, 2017, that's when Saturn went into Capricorn. And it was Capricorn's a Saturn ruled sign, and then it's in Aquarius, it's a Saturn ruled sign, a little bit different, a little bit more abstract, but it's still a Saturnian type of energy of this is the way we do things. This is how we've always done things. We need to have things done. And now we're moving from Saturn into Pisces. Saturn going into Pisces. I mean, it's ether. There's no ground. Saturn likes ground. Even in Aquarius, even though it's air, but it's fixed air. There's a grounding. There's some control within that. If anybody knows any Aquariuses, they're very much control freaks. So there's that control energy, and now it's into Neptune ruled. So we're going into an energy of Neptunian energy, right? Neptune energy. And we've had Pluto in Capricorn for 15 years, and it's going to be going into Pisces. It's going to be going into Aquarius. So it's like all of this energy that's going to be coming in and making these transformation and changes in how we have to make sense of this world, but yet use our own intuition and be aware of the control that wants to come upon us. And we will see how others want to continue to want people to have that control. In other words, you tell me what to do. You tell me when I should go to church or when I shouldn't go to church. You tell me if I should touch the pork or not touch the pork. That kind of thing, because people are afraid of their own freedom. People are going to be, you're going to be seeing this, like stepping out of this energy, and people are stepping in out of this energy of saying, I need to step into my own ownership of self. If I step into my ownership of self, I'm stepping into my true alignment of my God or goddess or whoever you want. I don't give a shit. I'm stepping into that alignment, and I step into that alignment. That means I'm stepping into my heart and the leadership of my heart. And with Jupiter going into Aquarius, I mean, that's newness, that's new starts, that's new structures. Here we go. Yet, as I said, when I talked to Mo today, the pharmacist, so many wanted to make sure that, oh, no, 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 I can't make grandma sick. I can't make this person sick. I can't make that person sick. It's that, oh, because they said, who are they? Who are they? They said, I need to make sure I have everything in my arm. So I make sure everybody's going to be fine, because I don't want to be having to do or think for myself. And that's part of the revolution. That's part of the transformation. That's part of the change. And this is where, it's the uncomfortableness of it all. It is the abstractness of it all. It is the part that really is going to have people go against a narrative, or And this is why, when I say the markets are going to be, these little meetup groups, where some of the markets, in there, they might have to, like, a disguise kind of thing, because the push against astrologers and tarot readers are going to be huge, because it's like they are the ones who are going to be condemned. They're the ones, because it is the astrologer who wants you to think freely. We were giving you guidance, and through that guidance, you trust your intuition on on how you want to be guided, or here are the planets. This is what they're showing me at this time, and this is why you're having some obstructions or problems in your life right now. It's because there's lessons there that you need to really look at and learn. But they don't want you to do that. They want you to follow their narrative, what they say, how they say it, when they say it. And that's that's the part where the rebellion comes in. That's the part where the revolution begins. And we're starting to see a lot of that um, unfold at this time. And this is so imperative that this is like a go-to time. Let's get prepared. If there's things that you've been procrastinating about, stop the procrastinating, because when Mercury goes retrograde in Capricorn, and Venus is right there, and with this uh not semi sextile, yeah, semi sextile to Uranus, and the North Node, it's like, it's kind of awkward, right? It's awkward. So I never did what I was told to do when I was younger. So why start now? Exactly. But there are things that we need to really prepare for, and within our own lives, So if there's things that you just kind of shoved off, can't shove them off. Because when Mercury really, this is going to be a pretty heavy duty Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, because Capricorn's all about structure. Capricorn's about getting things done. Capricorns don't bullshit. They want, if they're leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning, they're leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning. They don't give a flying shit if you're ready or not. They already told you they're leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning. The Aquariuses are ready to go, because he said 7 o'clock in the morning. So what is your problem? Here comes the Piscean. What time did you say we were supposed to leave? You're not packed yet? You're not ready? Didn't you get the list? Poor Piscean. You know, and Neptune's like, no, we just, it's like that crazy stoner chicken, off of Happy Feet. We're just gonna go with the flow and get what we get done. But sometimes that's not gonna work. It could go the other way. So but we need to look at that. And as Saturn, as the sun is creeping into Capricorn more, and Mercury is getting close to Pluto, but not close enough, and is going to retrograde. So he's not going to get all the answers. He's not going to get any of the answers from Pluto on the reconstructions of what needs to totally be done. So we're going to be left up to following the intuition of Neptune, and trusting in that intuition, and not getting lost in the delusions of it. So, but if it's going to push me to do something, then I'll take it. Yeah. I mean, the push is really, really big. Um and the other things that, I mean, especially a lot to do with mental illness being coming through, or new, coming out, is going to be a really big one in the coming months and stuff like that. Right now, what they're finding, especially in uh I would say Mateus's age isn't too bad, But as you go past, because Mateus is 7, so, we're going into the 9, 10, 11-year-olds. Some of them are really hung up on wanting to wear the mask, and it's the mask isn't so much crazy dreams. Yes, Neptune, crazy dreams. The mask is not so much for the prevention of passing on any viruses, which actually doesn't work. But anyways, um, it's masking themselves because of social media, or they don't look like that supermodel on social media. So I'd rather hide my identity so nobody knows or can look at me, truly of who I am. So there's there's that factor that with self, again, Chiron in Aries, self-esteem. Where is my self-esteem? Where is my confidence of who I am? Is that there's a shattered of confidence within a generation of young people who are afraid to be near one another, to be by one another. And I even noticed that at work, where people will still stand far away from one another when they're standing up to do an order. I find it quite hilarious. Um, and just trying to get people up. Come on, let's get going. you Especially if I'm by myself and I have a lot of orders to do. Um, but that's the other thing that, with when it comes to mental illnesses and the psychological effect everything has had on a whole generation of young people, that's coming through. So, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting few years to come. So but right now, get prepared. It's prepared time. If you're needing to get a project done, get that project done. If you've been procrastinating about the project, stop procrastinating, get it done. If something has to get handed in, get it handed in. Don't let this time uh you know go by you. That's one of the reasons when Lisa contacted me, it was funny. It's like I'm like, "Oh my god, she's like a little angel." And asking me about this because I was procrastinating about putting it out. And she goes, "Are you doing this?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I am. I was actually thinking about putting it out today." And so that's the whole thing. You got to put the dates out and put it all out. And because that procrastination will really fuck with your brain. So anyways, gonna send you guys out so much love. I've been on here for 38 minutes already. I don't want to spend too much time for your evening, and so just thoughts. Yeah, crazy things going through my head right now, and love to share with you. Thank you guys for all your comments. I love to see your comments. I love to, because to me it's like, somebody is out there. They can hear me. So have a fabulous evening, and may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you. Get a hold of me if you want to join me on January 6th. It is a Friday evening. So let me know if you are interested, and it'll be at 7 o'clock, and it'll probably be a couple hours. So we'll go from 7 till 9 at least. And then, of course, if there's any questions or anything that you have, you'll be able to ask any questions. So have a blessed one, everybody, and we will talk to you soon. So we'll see how my thoughts continue to go. Blessed be everyone. Bye.